to give 1 second here. You can start recording. I'm going to pull up the slides again. Sorry, my computer has
Absolutely.
been misbehaving for the past 15 minutes here.
All right. So today, the agenda for today, we have
Bear with
Soheil
me.
Farahmand, one of our top agents at EXP. He's going to be explaining about the method that is working
Oh,
for him for open
I can't
house
hear you,
and how
Axel.
he has leveraged the open house
Just give me
into an ROI. So he's going to
Hi,
go
can you
over
hear me,
that with
Axel?
us, of course. Yeah, I can hear you, buddy. Yeah, I'm just doing an introduction. Can you
Oh,
hear
perfect.
us?
Okay, sorry. I was it's connected to the TV and it was just it made a bit of a mess. So I'm just gonna do it from my computer here.
Yeah, absolutely. Go right ahead. This session is for you, buddy. Take it on.
Perfect. All right. So let's do this. Let me pull up the deck. And I'll focus less on the slides and, as usual, just talk through things, but it will be helpful to have them there to guide us through the session. Bear with me. It's just, I don't know why it's taking so long to pull up the slides here. I just keep spinning. Let me
Did
do
you want to send it
this.
to me and I can share? Maybe?
Yeah, I might need to do that. I don't know why. I don't know why my computer's misbehaving. I've been trying to get it to work for the past 15 minutes and nothing. Give me 1 second. I'm gonna send it over to you right now.
Yeah, sure. Thanks. Sounds good.
Slides. Da-da-da-da. Open house. Axel info at Axel Ziba or Axel at Jiba Axel Ziba at Gmail.
Whichever is your preference.
Yeah, I'll do Gmail. Maybe that'll be smoother. Perfect. Okay. How's it looking on your end? Were you able to pull it up?
Not yet. I haven't received it yet.
Oh,
Maybe that's a big fire.
no, it should be just the Google link.
Hmm. Still waiting.
It shows that you have it, but let me send it to the other emails also. Share.
I got it. All right.
Got it?
I
Okay,
will share that. Yep.
perfect.
I got it. Yep.
Perfect. Okay,
All right. Let me share my screen with everyone and we'll take it from here. All right.
fantastic.
There we go. All right. Let's go to presentation mode and slideshow. Here you
Awesome.
go.
All right. Okay, everyone. So this is going to be about how to win open houses. Okay. Straightforward, right? You think that, like us realtors, we put in the time pretty much every weekend running open houses. Some of us do twice a day during the weekend. And like so much of our energy and time goes into this. And so having worked with our team for some time now, having had a lot of different agents and myself hosting open houses and seeing how everyone does it and how it's done differently, and kind of picking the points of friction and coming up with ideas to do better every time, improve with specific goals in mind. Okay, so that's what kind of prompted this. I called Axel one day. I'm like, Axel, can I do our next session on open houses? Because I'm noticing missed opportunities, and I would love to see us all be a lot more effective at running open houses, be a lot more efficient, and get more business, right? Because open houses are a huge source of business, especially in today's market where there are a lot of buyers out there. Buyers are smart. They have access to a multitude of platforms that they use to search and sort and everything. right? And I'm noticing more than ever unrepresented buyers coming to open houses, right? I've never seen it at this scale, in fact. So that's just opportunity for us, right? For those that are investing their times into running open houses. Okay, so what is the number one goal of an open house? Right, think about that for a second. What's the number one goal? I mean, you can look at the screen and it's up there. But so one of the things that's come up a lot during our role plays is agents saying that the number one goal of an open house is to get more leads, get clients. And I think the number one goal, the primary goal, is actually to sell the listing, right? We're there for our seller as their agent, representing the property, and our duty to our seller or to the seller that's selling. Maybe it's not our seller. Maybe it's someone else's the client. The listing is someone else's client. Still, if you're hosting the open house, your primary obligation and your focus is to get the listing sold. Okay, so we'll talk about that. What steps we can take to improve the chances of the listing selling, to showcasing the listing, all of that. And the secondary, but also very important goal is for us to generate leads and get business, right? And open house leads, there can be some really good ones, very high conviction, short turnaround ones. Okay. And you don't want to miss that. If you miss that, then you might as well have taken the weekend off, right? Because business is not going to do itself. You got to do it. Or to sell a similar listing close by. Yeah, that's basically John. That's lead generation, right? You're generating lead and then you go find them something else. Okay. So with that in mind, Axel, if you could go to the next slide, please. Should I admit Tyler? We have someone waiting in the. I guess I'll let you deal with that, Axel. Okay. So who comes to the open houses? Right? What kind of categories of people do we see? Because if you can kind of profile or categorize the type of people that are coming to your open house, then you can organize it better. Then you can have more success with the ones that matter, right? There are 5 types of open house visitors, and maybe I've missed some here, but I think pretty much anyone you can think of fits within one of these, okay? And each of these comes with its own kind of temperature, right? Cold being useless, basically, like they're not there to buy, they're not there to do anything. They were grabbing a coffee, they walked in, and they're at every open house. They're one of those people, especially if it's a very high traffic area. They're always those people that are just having a good time. Before I was licensed, I loved to look at real estate. I just wander about and go into open houses, right? It was fun. But there are some good ones. So represented buyers are one category, right? Represented buyers have an agent. They're there because they're looking probably actively, or maybe they're exploring, but they do have an agent. And if they're not coming there with their agent, either their agent sent them over, or they're going to see it and see if they like it, and then follow up with their agent and let them know. Okay. But these are the hottest people that come through the open house. Represented buyers. They're higher intention than other buyers that may not be represented. Okay. So either they have a contract with an agent, or they have very high intention to work with an agent that they already are aware of. Okay. These people typically know their agent's name and phone number, at least, right? Or it's a past agent that they've worked with that they're very close with. Okay. And fully intend to or feel obligated to use. There are unrepresented buyers. These are people that are not just wandering in. Oh, go back a couple slides. Okay, unrepresented buyers. Unrepresented buyers can be hot leads. They can be very high intention, looking to buy within the next month or so. But there are people that feel like they don't need to call up an agent or get an agent's help until they've found what they like. Okay. I've converted unrepresented buyers from open houses within as little as 2 weeks. Okay. Just a year ago. Within as little as 2 weeks, they purchased. They hadn't even talked to a mortgage broker yet when I met them. But that's how hot they were as a lead when they came in. They could also be warm, meaning they've started exploring. Maybe they've talked to some agents, but they haven't committed to any. Maybe they haven't talked to any agents or any mortgage brokers. These are, plentiful usually in a busy open house. Unrepresented warm buyers are plentiful. So their timeline is more like 3 to 6 months, maybe, or maybe even within 3 months. They're just in the exploration phase, in the discovery phase, as opposed to in the active search phase. Okay. Warm prospective sellers. So these are people that are within the neighborhood. If it's a house, maybe there are a couple houses down. They thought about selling. Maybe they're thinking about selling in 6 to 12 months. They very typically will pop into all the neighborhood open houses to see what's what, get the beat of the market so that when they're ready to go, they know what they're doing. Great opportunities there. Lots of money can be made from prospective sellers that are unrepresented, that basically haven't signed with anyone yet, haven't listed with anyone yet. There are people that are buyers and sellers. I mean, basically those same prospective sellers can be a buyer and a seller. They want to sell in that neighborhood and move somewhere else. Or they're just completely cold, which is the first group that we talked about. They're just nosy people, neighbors, whatever, walk-ins that don't really matter. Okay. So 5 categories. You'll see why it's so important that I took a lot of time to go through these in detail, because everything else is going to tie into this. If the moment someone walks in, you can categorize them for yourself and know who you're dealing with, then the way you handle that conversation, the types of scripts you use, you know what you're going to do then, right? If you don't know which category they're in, you might be confused. You might say things that will actually hurt your position against them or hurt the seller's position against them even worse. Okay. So if you, within the first 5-10 minutes, you identify which category they're in. So it could be conversations or whatever, but you don't even need that. Like within the first 30 seconds, you could identify just through the introductions, and we'll talk about that in a second. What's very, very important, and the reason I ranked them with some temperatures, hot, warm, and cold, is because the cold ones, if you don't follow up with them right away, maybe nothing bad will happen. Some of these cold ones could be your client, like could become your client in a year and a half, if you ask them the right questions. Just less immediate, less urgent. But the hot and warm ones, follow-up is an absolute must. If you're not following up with them, if we don't follow up with hot and warm open house visitors, we might as well have not done that open house. Because guess what? There might be 5 people that walk in your open house, and only 2 of them might be hot or warm. And if those 2 you don't even follow up with, then why did you do that to start with? Why did you waste 2 hours of your time plus your travel time and all of that, like 3-4 hours of your weekend, just to stand there and open the door for someone, right? So follow-up is extremely important, extremely important. Now there are requirements to be able to follow up. And if you don't do those, again, you wasted your time, might as well not do the open house and enjoy your weekend. Okay. Next slide, please, Axel. Thank you so much. Okay, so in order to be able to do our job, to be able to do the follow-up, what do we need? And this is extremely important, and I've seen us fail at it. There have been times when I might have let 1 or 2 leads slip if it was an extremely busy open house. And like, you better be kicking yourself. If you don't collect this information to be able to do your follow-up, you better kick yourself, because guess what? You just wasted your weekend. Okay. There's no other way around it. So if someone is represented, what kind of information do we need? If someone is represented, it's an absolute must-have. You need their agent's full name, okay? Not Rick, not Jack, not John, not Robert from Sutton, because there might be like 12 of them. You need the agent's first name and last name. If you have a first name, last name, you don't need a contact information. You don't need a phone number, because you can, on the spot, as you're checking them in, you can Google that agent and get their phone number. You do definitely need the agent's contact information. It's just that if you have their full name and possibly even their brokerage, then you don't need it on the spot. You'll get the phone number later. You know you can get it. So agent contact information, if someone is represented. If someone walks in and you have a sign-in sheet there and you ask them to sign in and they say, I have an agent, but you don't have their agent's information, you just wasted your time, right? You just lost an opportunity. And worse yet, you lost an opportunity for your seller because you're not going to be able to get a hold of this person. This person that put their personal number on your sign-in sheet, you're never going to be able to get a hold of them. Like very likely, you're never going to be able to get a hold of them. They will ignore your calls. They won't respond to your text messages. But guess what? If you have their agent's information, their agent has rapport with them. Their agent can contact them and get their feedback, right? Because you need to be able to give your seller feedback about the open house. You need to be able to follow up and then get back to your seller and say, person one gave such and such feedback, said they're not interested. Person two said they're interested, but their timeline's blah, blah, blah. Person three is going to write an offer. Unless you do your follow-up, are you going to be able to give this feedback to your seller? No. So it's an absolute must, okay? Absolute must. I stress that because of the number of times when we've had open houses and someone has hosted the open house and I've gone back to them and I've asked for full information and this information was missing and I can't do anything with that. And I was sitting there frustrated thinking, what am I going to do with this information? This person has indicated they have an agent. I don't have the agent's information. The person's name is not even legible on the sign-in sheet. The person's phone number is not even legible, or if it is, they don't pick up or they don't answer text. What am I going to do this? This is a missed opportunity, right? If they're unrepresented, so if they're represented and you fail that, you failed your seller. If they're unrepresented, you failed yourself and maybe your seller, okay? So I'm sorry if this is a very negative, dark tone to a lot of things I say, but it's just there's just no way around it. We have to be brutal with this stuff. We have to be on top of it. If you miss this information, if you miss this stuff, you've lost an opportunity for yourself. Again, worse yet for your seller. And that's we can't do that. We can't afford to do that. Not in this business, not during these times. If the person is unrepresented, you need their full name. You need a phone number to be able to contact them. I would strongly recommend, as you have a conversation with them, that you collect their email as well. So before this, guys, depending on where you're located, like this is a generic training kind of content. Before you know where you're located, depending on your like local rules and whatever, you might if you're in BC, you might need to, if you're collecting some of this information, you might need to give them a privacy notice and consent. Right? Put it in front of them. Like go by your whatever legal things. I'm not commenting on that, but you need to abide by your local legal requirements. So if in BC you need to dort someone if they're sharing personal information with you, if you need to put a privacy notice and consent in front of them to be able to collect this information, but regardless, you need this information, right? Full name, phone number, ideally an email. No contact information means no conversion. Right? You don't have this information, again, you just wasted your weekend. And considering how limited these leads are from an open house, you're not going through 100 of them. You're going to get a handful at most. You miss one, and that's already 20% of the 5 that you got, right? You've lost 20% of the potential business you could have had that day. And then what you do is so where do you record all this? I do it on my phone. I then transfer it to I do it on my either in Notes or in ChatGPT. I actually log them in ChatGPT, and ChatGPT has like tables for me with leads from a specific, like all of my open houses. They each have each address has its own table with the names, with the contact information, with their agent information if they have an agent, and some notes about this person. Notes about comments they made, feedback they provided, all of that. And then I also asked ChatGPT to highlight the ones that I want, right? So ChatGPT now knows that when I log someone unrepresented that doesn't have agent information, it automatically now highlights it for me. Okay. Then the day after, for my follow-up, and again, we'll go through that in a second. For my follow-up, I know the ones that I have to follow up as my own leads. And I know the ones that have agents that I'm going to be following up to encourage to bring an offer because they have agents. Okay. So you can put this in your CRM. We have a digital sign-in sheet within the Align group. Take advantage of that. It will push push this information directly into your CRM so you don't have to do further admin work. Admittedly, I haven't adopted that yet. I should really, like, it makes life much easier if you use it. But anyways, doesn't matter how you record it, you need this information. Okay? Super important. Super important. Don't throw a sign-in sheet there and get people to write whatever bullshit they want. I used to go to open houses when I was younger, and I'd write like piss shit whatever at Gmail or Yahoo or whatever, right? I didn't write my information correctly. I didn't put in my actual name because they didn't want them contacting me. And that's fair enough. When I'm running an open house, I'd rather someone tell me I don't want you to contact me than have bullshit information on a sign-in sheet that I can't do anything about. Right? Because then if they
So,
don't,
Hale,
yeah,
just to clarify this one, so what you're recommending is have the sign-in sheet in there, but filling it up yourself. Is that what you're recommending? Awesome.
absolutely. So have a sign-in sheet that you fill out yourself, or have a digital system that you fill in yourself. What I do, Axel, is I stand there, I gather their information as I'm checking them in, and we'll talk through that. I've actually got that in the slides. Um, I let them know. I greet them. Actually, let me defer this because we're gonna get into it in a second. I'm just basically saying what's required right now, and then we'll talk about more practical things, like a step-by-step how I actually do it myself. That has been very effective as far as recording and converting leads from open houses. Okay. Oh, next slide, please, Axel. I keep clicking, thinking that it's going to go to the next. Okay, so here's the practical kind of script, right, that I use. It's really straightforward. This is no rocket science, right? It's just a conversation. Person comes to the door. Maybe I'm at the lobby waiting for them. If I'm hosting a condo, I'm always at the lobby unless I'm with someone in the unit. I never stay in the unit waiting for people to call in, because you want to be there to greet them and welcome them in before they have to call you. Okay. If you're at the house, you're either sitting or standing in the house behind a window, looking at the driveway or looking at the doorway, waiting for people to come in. Or better yet, you're at the door. If it's nice out, you're at the door, smiling at people that are passing by or whatever, and connecting with people as they're passing by. Maybe someone's passing by and they're going to sell their house in 6 months, and they don't want to come see this one, but you have a conversation with them, and the next thing you know, you're exchanging contacts, right? This happened to me yesterday at a condo that I was showing. In the lobby, I overheard someone, and I just went up and talked to them, and the next thing you know, I sent them a listing package, a pre-listing package, right? So those opportunities are there. Expose yourself to them while you're working, while you're spending your time and energy. But anyway, so someone comes up to the door. Hi, welcome in. I'm Soheil. And your name is? And as I'm doing this, I'm shaking their hand. I extend my hand, I shake their hand, I welcome them in. It's as if they're guests to my house, right? This is completely, there's no tension whatsoever. It's a big smile, happy to have them there, introduce myself, and ask for their name in return. And 99% of the people are socially smart enough, intelligent enough, and polite enough to introduce themselves. Okay, so now you have a name, right? Now you have Axel, right? Hey, Axel, welcome in. It's good to have you here. Are you working with a realtor, Axel, or are you just looking on your own right now? So this is almost without hesitation my next question, because I need to know that. Are you looking on your own, or are you working with someone? And people will, again, if you're greeting them, if you're nice and all this is organic, they will, 99%, they will share that information with you. Oh no, we're working with a realtor. Fantastic. Now we're going to go to next step. What happens if they have a realtor? What happens if they don't have a realtor? The next slide, please, Axel. I wonder if oh no, sorry. I don't know. I think I missed that line. If you can go back for a second. Okay. So, yeah. So the next step is, I forgot to put it on the slide, or I don't know, somehow it got missed on the slides. But so the next question is, so either they have a realtor or they're unrepresented. Either way, I need to check them in, right? Before they come in, before they look at the property, I make sure they are checked in. What does it mean, checked in? It means I've collected that information that we went through earlier. That's the information I require for my seller's protection, for the promise, the commitments that I made to the seller. That's the information I need to collect before someone comes in and looks at the open house. Okay, I won't, I'll leave that leave that there. So literally the script is, or the conversation is fantastic. Axel, let me just check you in quickly. What's the best contact information for you? Or better yet, what's the best phone number for you? Okay. If this is, sorry, if this is if they don't have an agent. If they have an agent, oh, great. I'll just take your agent's name so I can check you in. Okay, so it's one of two things. Either they have a realtor. Oh, fantastic. What's your agent's name? Perfect. I'll just check you in. If they say, oh, I don't remember, well, what's the best phone number for you? Okay. And I take that down in my phone. And I'm doing this very casually, very fluently while I'm having a conversation with them. And they've almost without hesitation, 99% of the time, this is successful. There's no stress, no thinking, oh, are they going to give me their phone number? Are they not going to give me their phone number? There's none of that. Because I know if they don't want to share their contact information with me, I have the right on behalf of my sellers to ask them not to go through the open house. Right. And I talk to my sellers about this for listings. I talked about this with my sellers in advance. I commit to them that everyone that comes to the open house, we're going to collect their contact information and we're going to follow up with them. Okay. So what do you say if they refuse to provide information? It's not an if, they will. Like once in a while, they will. And I will let them know that I can't have them cruising around someone's home unless I know who they are. So it's my obligation to the sellers, to my clients, to check everyone in. If your hesitation is because you don't want anyone contacting you, I can put a note and make sure we don't get in touch with you directly. But I do need your information to be able to check you in and let you into the open house. Right? It's straightforward. I had only once I've had to ask someone to not come in because they refused so strongly. And that's fine. That person was not going to be a lead for me. That person was not going to be a buyer for my client's property. Right? I don't even know if they would have been safe. It would have been safe to have them in the property, really. Right? If they're refusing to share their information, they want to enter someone's home and they're refusing to share their information, they're not welcomed in that home. It's as easy as that, guys. Only once, all these years, only once this happened to me. Right? So I'm not even worried about that scenario. Okay? Makes sense? All right. So, but that the thought of that, oh, what if this person doesn't want to share their information with me? That thought is very destructive. So if you know how infrequently that happens and you're still thinking about it, you need to get that thought out of your head. Because if you're not thinking that, you're not going to talk to them in a way that would discourage them from sharing their information, I guess. Right? So it's a little bit of a change of
Or
mind.
in addition to the mindset, you mentioned something here that was absolutely gold. The way you are asking them for their information is pre-planned, and the way you introduce yourself, the way you go and at asking those information from them, it's pre-planned. So there's no way they can say, no, I'm not going to share my information, because the way you're asking, they are going to give it to you. So if you're not getting their information at your open houses, guys, there's two issues right there. Number one is your mindset that you're expecting not to get that information, and what if. Number two is the way you're proposing it. That was gold. So if you want to know how to say it, refer to the recording of this. We will be sharing the recording on this one. Thank you so much.
Are we okay with time, Axel?
Yes, sir. We're good. We're good.
Okay. All right. Okay. So yeah, as Axel said, there's a sequence. The reason I've set these slides in the sequence that they're in is because that's the sequence I do them in. So it's very practical, right? If you don't do the greeting at the door, expect not to be able to get contact information, right? If you don't get contact information, expect it to become much harder to get it later when you're going to get into the next kind of steps, right? So now let's talk about it. You know, they've walked in, they've gone through the tour. They've toured the property actually before even that. So once they come in, what I will do is once I've checked them in, I'll hand them a brochure or a feature sheet or my business card or whatever marketing content I have there to share with them. I will then actually, Axel, can you go back one slide, please? I think there must have been one slide. Oh yeah, so yeah, there it is. Yeah, so right at the bottom of that slide. So I will frame 2 to 3 strong highlights. So this is the UVP, right? The unique value proposition of the property. If it has a huge deck, or it's very bright, or the bedroom, the floor plan is really efficient, the way the bedrooms are set, separate or whatever, like whatever the features of your listing or that listing are, you need to know that, and you present that information to them, because when you're marketing a listing, you need to know who you're marketing it to. You already know, you should have a very strong idea about the segment of the audience that is interested in your property. Is it going to be mostly upsizer? Is it going to be mostly like young couples? Is it going to be mostly single people? Is it going to be mostly investors? So you need to know what speaks to the 80% of the audience, and you need to, as they come in, you highlight those things, and then you say, how about, have a look around. I won't say much more. Have a look around, please, and let me know if you have any questions. Okay, so have a look around. Let me know if you have any questions. Word for word. Don't have to even think about this. Okay, Axel, next slide, please. So now they've looked around the house. Maybe they had some questions for you in the meantime. Maybe they didn't. Maybe in the meantime, you like walked around with them and gave them some tips here and there, right? To highlight specific things or renovations or whatever. And their tour is about done, or you feel like they're kind of, somewhat idle, right? They're going into kind of idle mode, waiting for them to leave, essentially. The question is this is all very simple. Question to be asked is, so what do you think? What do you think about the property? Can you give me an unbiased take on the property? Right? Then there are two things that could happen. Either it's positive, right? Whatever they say, you could put it as in a positive category, or it's negative. If it's positive, I would like to know what they like about it. Doesn't matter at this point. It doesn't matter if it doesn't really matter whether they're represented or unrepresented, or if I'm thinking that they're going to be my buyer lead or whatever. I want to know what they like about this property. That will help me sell it to someone else better. That will help me find out if this is the right property for this buyer. Okay. So if it's positive, what stands out the most could be something you ask them. Oh, great. What makes sense about it for you? What stands out to you as the best part of the house? You can also use those as highlights for future people that look like, that have the same kind of profile, right? If it's a young couple, other young couples might appreciate those same things that these guys liked. When are you hoping to move? If they're super positive, right? If they're like, yeah, no, I like it. Well, when are you hoping to move? If they're represented, you can ask them instead to, well, you know what? If you have any questions at all, I'll be happy to answer them for you here, or you can have your agent reach out. Otherwise, I'll reach out to your agent for next steps. Right? So you can kind of prompt some action and build some expectation. Most likely, if they like it enough, they will ask their agent to get in touch with you anyway. But we have to do our follow-up anyway, which we'll go through again. If it's negative, what would make it the right one for you? Now it's negative. If it's negative, and if it's a represented person, if it's a represented lead, you want to know what they don't like about it, because that feedback is going to be valuable for you to share with your clients. That feedback is going to be valuable for your price adjustments and all those conversations, right? So your clients need to know what people are not liking about their property. If it's negative and they're unrepresented, then that's a lead that you want to take somewhere else. This doesn't fit them. Well, if this isn't the right one, which one is, right? So that's the question that's going on in my head. And I would ask, what will make it the right one, right? If they say, oh yeah, this is not the one, what would make it the right one? What features were you hoping for that would make this the right one for you, right? Or what kind of features appeal to you? Is this around the type of the property you're looking for? Or like somehow you have to figure out, basically, there's so many different questions. I don't want to go through like a whole list of examples, but you need to figure out then what their criteria is, right? And that would get into that other conversation that we had earlier. So what are you ideally looking for? And then you get into buyer scripts with them, basically, right? Qualifying them as a buyer. Now, this person doesn't want to buy your listing. Your duties to your seller, as far as encouraging these people to come buy this property, kind of like ends around there. And now you have a good lead. Now you have a good buyer lead potentially. So you take him through buyer scripts. Awesome. Follow-up system. So this is on the day. The follow-up is even more important sorry. On the day, those conversations are extremely important. When I get buyer leads at a property, by the time they leave, I pretty much know what they're looking for. I don't leave it to follow-up appointments to find out what they're looking for. I pretty much qualify them on the spot. If it's super busy, I'll say, here's what I'm going to do. I'll text you my contact information. And I'll send them my Google business page. So they have a picture of me and some reviews from my past clients. If you don't have that, just the email signature. I used to do that, just an email signature so they know who you are. I'll text them that on the spot and I'll say, it's really busy right now. I'm going to get to the open house. I'll give you a call tomorrow morning so that we could chat more about what you're looking for. Okay. So what do we do the day after? Guys, if we don't have that, if we haven't done everything so far, we're not going to be able to do this. And this is again another crucial part of this whole equation. This absolutely must happen. We owe it to our clients, to sellers, we owe it to ourselves to not have wasted a weekend. If it's a represented buyer, they need to be contacted. If they seem super interested, I'll contact them as soon as they leave. I'll drop a text to their agent. Hey, so and so, your buyers such and such, this name and that name just dropped by my open house. They seem to really like it. I thought I'd give you a heads up so you can reach out to them and have a conversation. Because that agent also wants to make a sale. And they may not even know that the buyer's looking or that the buyers looked at this property and liked it. So what you want is for that agent to now advocate and go and follow up with their buyer and say, hey, I noticed, I heard you saw this such and such property. What did you think of it? Did you like it? And then you let that person start, following up with their buyer, kind of push the job onto them. But if you don't do that, at the very least, the next morning, you need to call them. If it's not the next morning, if it's not the Sunday morning, on the Monday morning, our task is to follow up on open house leads because you need to collect feedback, find out if anyone's planning on presenting offers. Okay? Guys, I brought offers to listings doing this. Had I failed to do that follow-up, that offer would have never come. Others in this room, I'm sure you've faced the same kind of situation. You're not like people don't just buy properties, not these days. We bring offers to listings, right? We work hard, like against all odds, to bring offer to listings. If you're not doing this, guaranteed you're missing out. Guaranteed you're missing opportunities for your sellers and for yourself. Okay. Unrepresented buyers. Unrepresented buyers. So same day intro text. I'm sorry. Is Tina in the room? No. Oh. Sorry. 1 second. I thought Tina was here. 1 second, please. There's a very urgent call coming that I have to.
While so
Sorry.
here doing that,
Yeah.
one thing that worked for me, and I want to put it out there, using technology, when you build that rapport with those buyers that come in at the introduction, after the tour, and this is not for the follow-up, but after the tour, you can simply use the OVU cards or one of those digital business cards that you can tap on their phone and your information gets carried forward to their cell phone. You can use those to give your information to them. And when they save your information, when you call them, it doesn't show as a spam anymore. It show as likely a spam. So when they have your information, you are in the contact number and you are the one calling them. They will see your picture, your business cards, and everything popping up right there on their display. That helped with them answering my call as a friendly contact. So just wanted to put this out there while Soheil was engaging in his business. So you back?
Thank you, Axel. Yes, I'm back. Sorry, I had to
All
deal
right.
with a incoming client call real quick. Okay, so let's wrap this up. So if they're unrepresented, same day introduction text, we already talked about this. Next day call to pre-qualify and set an appointment, right? So ideally, by the time they're leaving your open house, you know what they're looking for. Ideally, by the, like just this past week and the weekend before, I was between my open house visits when I had 5 minutes, I was setting up MLS searches for the leads that I just got from the open house. Like if you're that quick to act and people see it, if there's any chance that they're gonna buy, they're gonna be buying it with you, believe me, right? They're not gonna they're not gonna wait for this other realtor to get back to them after 5 days. You engage them right then, you email them right then, you send them the mortgage broker information right then. You've got them engaged, right? If they're gonna do business with anyone, most likely it'll be you, right? So same day intro, next day call, pre-qualified, blah, blah, blah. So that's buyer, unrepresented buyers. If it's a prospective seller, this is the indentation got messed up here, but if it's a prospective seller, again, same day contact information, you share your contact information. If you have a business card, if you have a brochure, you can share with them. Next day, request 10 to 15-minute preview. So you call them the day after and you say, you know, we talked about it, blah, 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 your property. Ideally, you've already picked up their address, like collecting as much information as you can if you've got them at the open house engaged. And you could go up to their door and you could promise them, you know what, how about tomorrow at such and such time, I have some time, I'll drop off a package at your home. Are you going to be home then? I could do a 10-minute walkthrough. Or I have about 15 minutes after my open house ends. How about I'll give you a call and I'll come do a walkthrough of your property right then. Right? That's the best time to do it. Right? If your open house is absolutely dead and you have 10 minutes, you could even do it right then. Okay. We're running out of time and I gotta take off for an appointment, but I'll leave this with you, and Axel, feel free to share this deck with anyone. So this kind of a role play that I prepared, that come to our role plays in the mornings and we'll practice this. Like we don't need to do it in this session. Uh, and then is that it? Okay. Golden rules. Just to reiterate, if it's a hot or warm lead, it needs to be in your CRM or some kind of database where you can access them and contact them. Same day contact and exchanging contact information can go a very long way, can really help you secure that lead if it's unrepresented or hot or warm. Next day follow up is an absolute must. When I say next day, it could be the day after the weekend. So if you do Saturday, Sundays, and then Monday morning, you allocate Monday morning to following up with these leads. And then setting clear next steps. So if you're meeting them at the open house and they're engaged, here's what I'm going to do. Since you haven't talked to a mortgage broker, I'll send you a mortgage broker contact that can, and I'll ask him to reach out to you to set up a time. I'll also set up a quick search based on what you just discussed for similar properties so that you could explore the neighborhood a little more. Okay. And once I've done that, I'll give you a call tomorrow to make sure you've received it and all as well. And then I'll call them tomorrow or text them tomorrow and say, hey, did the mortgage broker get in touch with you? I want to make sure the mortgage broker is doing their best job, right? You're not holding the client accountable, but you're checking to see if the mortgage broker is being accountable. If the mortgage broker is following up and doing their job. You don't take those next steps, you've wasted your weekend. You've wasted opportunities. That sale will go to that lead will go to someone else and they will know what to do with it. They'll come to my open house next and I will convert them, right? So if you don't want me to do their deal, get it before me. Okay, cool. I will,
All right. I
I'll leave it
love
at that,
that.
Axel. I gotta rush out to drive out to Delta for an appointment, but thank you
Yes,
everyone for
sir.
listening. I hope this was valuable.
Absolutely was. And thank you for being here. I know you're an extremely busy guy. And thank you for devoting 45 minutes to us, specifically and exclusively running over a very important as a sound that is, it was straightforward, it was perfect, it was great. And if you're not doing this basics, it's just the loss of opportunity. Thank you, Soheil. I appreciate everyone for being here. Have a
Thank you
great day,
all.
guys.
Have a great
Thank you
day.
very much.
Bye.
Have a good one. Bye bye.